We have two objectives with our axles, and we need to cut our axle holes according to these two objectives. Our axles will be 3D printed, so we can make them any shape we want. And in order to achieve our objective, our first objective is that our axles must move freely or rotate freely inside the frame, but not actually be impeded by the frame other than their rotation. So basically, we need to use circular holes in order to do that. Our second objective is to be able to make sure that our gears move in concert with the axles such that they are fixed or fused to the axles. In order to achieve this, we're going to basically make our axles mostly circular, but with a line or a slot cut off those axles in order for them to be able to lock in place so that they can't spin freely or independently of the gears. So let's actually achieve the first objective, which is to create holes through our particular uprights. So I'm going to create a sketch on our uprights, and we're going to start by turning our upright off. So we'll turn this upright off, and we'll see here that we want to project the center points of these two holes. So I'm going to press P to project, and I'm going to click on the center point of these two little holes here in our gear, and I'm going to press on OK. Now that I've got that, or those two holes, I can now turn my upright back on, and I can turn my gears off. I'm going to press on the circle or the center point circle tool, and I'm going to create a circle here, which is going to be or have a let's go with an 8mm radius on our particular things. 8 is the smallest you want to go. And now I'm going to press a circle over here and go on an 8mm radius. If you're creating a gear system with a lot more gears or big gears, you might want to go 10. But you notice that my braces are going to impede on this, so we need to basically make sure that we are able to use the 8mm size ones. Okay, so now we've got that happening, we need to be able to push those through. So let's actually go back to my sketch, so finish sketch, press pull, and pull those back through. And I'm not going to pull them back through all the way. I'm going to use a nice little trick on this. I'm going to use my distance, and I'm going to go to object, and I'm going to go to the back of this object here. So that's going to go all the way through to here, and that's going to be driven by all those dimensions. Otherwise, when you get to a certain size, they might not actually go through. So we're going to have that dimension driven through. So that's my first objective. My axles should spin nicely and freely in the perfectly circular holes. Now let's look at the holes we need to cut for our gears. So I'm going to turn off my uprights and my braces. In fact, let's just turn all of my bodies off and turn my gears on. We'll go to a nice side view here, put that in the middle, and I'm going to use a sketch on this one. And I'm going to basically once again draw my center point circle at the center point here, make it 8mm, the same as the other one. But I'm going to draw a line, L for line, from one side to the other here. You notice that that defined it as being in the vertical, which is fine. I'm going to now press a distance from here to here, and I'm going to make that distance to be exactly 3mm. That way I'll get a bit of an edge cut off. In order to make that really nice, I'm going to press T for trim, and trim this extra little bit off here, and I'm going to hit finish sketch. I'm now going to modify that through, click on that, and I'm going to modify it through once again to an object, and that object is going to be the other side, and I'm going to press OK. I'm going to repeat that process on my small gear. So I'm going to press on create sketch on this little one here, circle, and I'm going to do 8mm, and I'm going to press on line, draw a line, making sure that it's locked to the vertical by that. If it's not, then you can click on this and then click on the line. I'm going to press dimension, and it was 3mm exactly. Make sure it is actually 3mm, and I'm going to press on finish sketch. Oh, hang on, I'll trim that off. And then I'm going to press on finish sketch. Once again, I'm going to push those through. This one here, and it's going to go to object on this side and press OK. I now have those two holes through there. I now have my upright and base turned back on. So I now should be able to see that if I have my my circular axle with the line cut off it, it should actually spin freely in this hole but be fixed into the hole in the gears.